and welcome to this very quick episode of Parenting Through the Apocalypse. My name is Allie with A. Marie Speaks, and this video is hopefully not going to start dimming out and losing the light because my laptop camera is, I don't know why it's doing this, but it's very odd. Sometimes I get started and then all of a sudden the screen goes black. I don't know if it's still recording the video, but I can't see it, and so I don't know. But I am hoping to do this as a visual video because I wanted to do a quick showcase of a couple of my sort of like back to school organizational things that have really helped me this coming year and that I sort of evolved into last school year that I think are going to be super helpful in creating a more fluid and flexible, positive homeschool environment for myself as the parent. And that, of course, it has a beautiful, trickle-down effect on school every day in my relationship with my sons as well, because I find when I am disorganized and feel like I have a lot of on my shoulders or in my brain to keep set, that I easily triggered, easily aggravated. I have more difficulty relaying information and taking back, feedback from my sons. And from anybody else, too, from others. It can, this is Parenting Through the Apocalypse, and I am talking about homeschooling, but of course, it's valuable information for all different kinds of communication and work settings and in all different types of life settings anyways. But I wanted to share this, just for anybody who might be out there who is sort of similar to me and come into sort of thrust into this homeschooling thing with the apocalypse that we've been facing in the last kind of 5 years. And I wanted, air out there the simpleness of it and the fact that we can all do it. And even though I had never thought I could, and I used to have all of these presumptions and expectations and all of these assumptions about what had to be done or should be about homeschool and about how to teach my children and what they should learn and stuff and normal life and public school and what comes along with normal society and normal public school experience growing up with all this in America. Of course, I'm in America, so if you're in a different country, it might be a little different for you. But we all have our own sort of matrix molds that have been broken or were really reaffirmed and you were really pushed back into since 2020 and now. I myself, have broken out of it and am a very fringe person and definitely not downtown Rome right now, so I don't want to get off track either. What I'd love to do is, I might do other videos like this. I'm not really sure, especially where my podcast is in transitory and lost, canceled on Spotify or whatever happened. Seeking new hosting and places, maybe even just on my website. I don't even know. That's another day and another topic. But I want to really show the ease of homeschooling, just in case people you've been homeschooling since 2020 like me and you're kind of just getting it now, or you're still seeking, or maybe you want to do it or haven't yet, or maybe your kids are so small and you're getting ready to, or whatever is the case. The simplicity of it really has dawned on me. I'm a slow learner. I'm a slow student. I say this all the time, even to my own self in my own ways. I take a long time to learn something. I have to see something from many directions and be taught and explained something and then make mistakes about it and then learn from my mistake, and then I finally will get it. That's just how I operate. And so it's taken me about 5 years to come around to this sort of ease of organization that I'm going to talk about. So yeah, if you're a long time learner like me, or if this isn't new to you, sorry if you're like, duh. Well, you're a star student. You're ahead of the class. You're one of those up curve kids, the A students. I was an A student, but that's because I literally had to go home and do 3 hours of study and homework and make notes, highlights, and rewrite them and really take my time to learn. But I enjoy doing that. I love to learn. And so I would love to do that, and I would go home and really process things. And then I'd be an A student later. I was never just one of those bright kids. My sons are bright like that, but my oldest son especially is very bright like that. My younger son is bright different ways like that, though. It's so amazing to see the aspects and variety of intelligence, especially when you have multiple children. But even just through one child, and homeschooling really allows us and encourages us to be able to see their affinities and their weaknesses, and to be able to find a harmonious balance for them, and to show them how to teach them to seek that for themselves. Then we learn that through them. Just like we learn what they like and what they don't like through them. And we learn how they're comprehending through their answers and stuff. Teach learning, and learning that this is a cycle and that I'm a student and a teacher and so are they, has been one of the hugest, most beautiful lessons of unfolding for me. Humbling and inspiring. It's wonderful. And to let my children know and let them know that they're a part of that has been a real, such a companionship for us, and an opening to knowing that they do help create the curriculum, that they have at the helm, they are learning, they are the captain, and that they are responsible for their learning as well. That was a huge thing. I started off, my older son was in 7th grade for 2019-2020 when they sent them home, and I did half a year, sort of never sent him back to school that year. So he did public school up through 7th grade. So I know that whole rigmarole already, and I watched it was so poor, and it failed him. Anyways, but I've seen him, how he's grown, and he was old enough at that time when we did start homeschool that I could really say, it's your job, buddy. Your job as a child and as a middle schooler, and almost into high school is what I was saying to him. This is 8th grade, the year before high school, buddy. It's your time to start taking your learning into your hands. That's your job, basically. That's your responsibility and your portion of our family unit. We all have jobs and we all have responsibilities that we put forth in our commitment as a family. Yours as the child, you don't get a job to pay. You don't have to pay rent. You get food provided for you and clothing and all these things that my husband and I provide. You get that and have that, but your commitment in your service is schoolwork and brightening your mind. It's getting yourself ready, empowering yourself to be a responsible, intelligent adult so that you can step out into the world and take your dreams and go chase what you would like to do with your life here, your time here. But I want you well equipped for that. Really making him understand that he's the one. It's him as the student. And so we were really able to do his whole high school into exactly what he loves to do. Computer, coding, and it has gone and surpassed my knowledge. In 5 years, this kid, in 2 years, he blew out all of the math that I knew, and I had to work and struggle and learn through, even through college. I did years of university, and I had to do, pre-cal and cal and trig, and I just remember, really on the grind, having to really learn that, and he just absorbs it. And I had to get a tutor, student. We had to go link him into virtual learning with real teachers and get him into learning, calculus and differentiated mathematics. But that these are also wonderful things that you learn are resources for us. Now talk for 10 minutes and I haven't even gone into the organizational thing. But you know, we wouldn't have been able. I know that public high school, public middle school was failing him. I won't get into his story, but the change in him is amazing. My second son, it was kindergarten when that all happened, and he had a very difficult time adjusting to kindergarten in the first place. He wasn't like a preschool daycare kid. You know, we tried him in a daycare setting a couple of times just to get him socialized. But he didn't really do well. He liked to be around family. You know, most little kids too. They want to be comfortable in their own setting with their mom. And like my husband and I mostly worked opposite schedules. You know, I worked evening shifts at hospital and he worked days landscaping. You know, so we were always home with him through 4 or 5 years old. It was wonderful to do that, but kindergarten was a difficult adjustment. And halfway through it, when he had almost gotten started, not liking it, because he didn't like it at all, but he had almost got used to not liking it and understanding that he didn't like it, but he had to go every day. This is the mind screws that we jam into our kids. How wrong is that, right? I'm so glad I didn't have to do that. I'm so glad that the hammer came down and that they sent them home, and then when they want to bring them back, there was such crazy infringements happening that I was like, whoa, Nelly, I ain't doing that. They're not going back into that nonsense. I'm not even going into a store wearing one of those. I can't get into my own story, but back in 2017, I was still working in a healthcare setting, and they tried to make me do this during flu seasons. I worked in the lab because I didn't want to take the flu ones. And I was like, what the heck? This is nonsense. This is crazy. I work in the middle of the night at 11 o'clock at night. I'm not even seeing any patients. What the heck do I need to be in the back of the lab like that for? That's crazy. And I used to wear glasses too. And one time I even tried it, and it was like, oh, I got bad headaches, and I couldn't see through my glasses because they were fogging up. And I'm like, what is the point of this? This is retarded. And at that point, I went and looked up studies, case courses that were happening in Canada with nurses. And go look at that 2017 flu Canada nurses and see what with these. And they won. And they proved it was nonsense, all of it, in court. But yet, that was, you know, whatever. I ended up leaving the healthcare in 2017 and moving into a whole different field and working in freight and logistics for a few years after that. I worked in that through 2020, and that was interesting too. I started the homeschool process going virtual with my job, which I was in freight and logistics in global, working for a Fortune 500 company, which is a total other thing that I won't even get talked about right now. But anyways, I was working this computer job at home, 8 to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 o'clock at night sometimes, but 8 in the morning till about 5, 7 o'clock at night on the computer, you know, doing my job. Not on like a phone thing, because I was doing all inventory and sending orders to warehouse, managing people at the warehouse. Sometimes I'd be on the phone, or I'd have office calls and stuff, but it's not like a constant phone thing. I wasn't doing like sales or something. You know, mostly I was doing managerial kind of data work, SOP kind of things and stuff, managing teams. But homeschooling my kids at the same time. And so I did kindergarten. I left that job in 2022. So I did a couple of years of that, like kindergarten through almost second grade with my younger son like that, and through a couple of years of high school with my son. And it was driving me crazy. And so, yeah, in 2022, April, I left that. And so I have been just straight homeschool myself, 2023 school year, and now this school year. And how amazing it has been to just do that without the stress of school, without the stress of that job, that computer job, and that whole job in general. That literally changed my whole world. I have a different job. I work part-time only, except not really, because I live and work where I live, and so it's very much 24/7. But my real on the book schedule is only 3 days a week. So it's much different. But the leniency and now the switch up of the times and what I'm doing has created more switch up with my school. And what I really wanted to do, and I'm going to close out here, I'm going to actually show and say, because what I'm doing is so simple, and I'll talk curriculum maybe next time, and what we're literally learning and how I base them, make that kind of learning. If people are interested, I might talk about that. But for now, like I'm not going to go through this, but in my binder here that I keep, just a literal calendar. And I keep a little notes of what we do every day. This is my younger son's. My older son would do the same thing, but keep a little log of what he's done. You know, just the classes and what the quick topic was, you know. And then in this is my own personal, I bought like literally at a Dollar Tree for $1. And it has big enough space in here for a little bit of writing for every day. And what I go and do is I just literally write like a little bit of what we did. We did a full day schedule because I have a full and a half day schedule. And then I have a write up here in my binder, right, about what I include as like my full day schedule. And I have a half day schedule and what kind of subjects and times that we're doing things at. And we wiggle through these things. Nothing's set in stone either, which is wonderful. But what I do end up doing is writing down sort of the set in stone version here so that every day when I'm done for the day, sometimes even when I'm done with a lesson, I'll just grab this real quick and write what we did down. That way, it doesn't get backed up and it's not overwhelming. And you have a little bit from each day. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Because the real work, I mean, the child's done the work already. And if you have real curriculum, then you have it in the book. Or if you, whatever kind of exercise you've done, you have the piece of it, you know. And I keep, folders in a bucket, and I just keep everything together a little bit. And at the end of the school year, just put it all together and away. And I keep a nice little binder of sort of their best work and stuff from the beginning of the year and stuff from the end of the year for each core subject, and that's it. And they do it how they do. It's not really about meeting any sort of bar. I never make a curriculum and make them meet it. It's, I don't feel like that's what learning should be about. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Thank you so much for listening. I'd love to hear people's responses or anything about your own ideas too. Yeah, I can see my camera dimming now, so this is perfect timing. Thank you so much for listening, and yeah, maybe I'll have another video another time. But either way, I'm sure I'll see you around. Have a beautiful day, evening, wherever in the world you are, right? Thanks for listening.